So what is the kind of inputs and the outputs that we have in this knowledge area? Looking at it again from the knowledge area point of view, we'll come up with, again, the inputs would be the needs, the requirements, and the influences in terms of internal, external. Very important, because that's what we do with a technique called PESTLE, P-E-S-T-L-E, PESTLE. Some people call it as PESTLE. So essentially, it is a tool to identify the influences both from external as well as internal, but more so from the external factors. So for example, P stands for political, E stands for economical, and S stands for the strategic, and then T stands for the for the technical aspects of it, how are the technology and the stuff like that changing. L stands for lifestyle, and then E stands for environmental. So your PESTLE is political, economic, and then your socio cultural kind of a thing, the S, and then T stands for technology, and then L is for the legal and stuff like that, and the E stands for the environmental. PESTLE, to identify what are all the factors that are externally influencing them. And then the internal one is basically what we call as resource audit, which would help you address the internal aspects of what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses internally, that would be able to help address the external aspects as well. So we would try and address one of those things called SWOT analysis. So you would have heard about it: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we'll have a look at all these techniques later anyway. But so we'll get the inputs from the application of these different tools and the techniques. We also have the stakeholder engagement approach that we did the last few knowledge areas and activities, that again would be the input into this. And then the elicitation results that we have done would be, again, feeding into the strategic analysis, because we've done all those interviews, the workshops, and all the prototyping. Those ones would actually feed us. The insights coming in from those would be helping us to decide what we want to do, where do we want to go from here. The same with confirmed results and the designs and the requirements, prioritized requirements. Again, all of these are done in the previous set of knowledge areas that and the activities that we have already covered. So these would provide the inputs to help us decide where do you want to go from here, the to-be solution. And then what you do here as part of the strategy analysis knowledge area is that we would understand and analyze the current state, the as-is situation that we are in today, so that we identify all the areas that need to be improved and worked upon. And then we define the future state. We are not implementing, we are not creating the future state already. We are just trying to define what it would look like. Where do you want to go? It's not about taking steps to get there, because we have to first take baby steps. We need to first understand where do you want to go. That's what is the definition of the future state, the potential solution. And then in order to get there, what could be the risks? What are the challenges? What are the problems? What are the obstacles and the blockers that we have, so that we can address those and then be able to define how we can get there. So this is the define of future state is actually it's basically like a problem statement of the potential statement of the potential solution, whereas the define the change strategies, basically it is the approach that we would take to get there. So what needs to be done to get there? Again, it's definition, it's not actually working on that yet. So, and then in terms of output, so we'll have a description of the current state, a problem statement, and the challenges and the sort of pain areas that we currently have. It also has the business requirements in terms of, again, trying to understand what are the requirements from the context of business, functionality, what do we need as an organization in terms of where we want to go. The business objectives are basically the goals for each of the business units, or the business as a whole, the organization as a whole. We want to achieve so much of market share. We want to increase the shareholder value from here to here. We want to have better customer satisfaction, better engagement, increase the loyalty or the sales from the existing customers, the customer retention. All of those would be the business objectives. And then the future state description of where we want to go from here. Again, that is a kind of solution, high-level solution description. So again, that would be the output coming out from this knowledge area. And then what is the value proposition, in terms of how differentiated we are with respect to the proposed solution? Why should others consider us? What is the value that we're going to deliver to our customers, our users? How do they see us different from the rest of the solutions, rest of the offerings in the market? And then risk analysis results. Obviously, the risk register, the risk mitigation plan, all of that would be again coming in as an output from this knowledge area. And obviously the change strategy, very important, because it sets the path that we need to take so that we can try and address all the risks, all the challenges that we have identified, and make use of the resources that we have so that we can achieve the vision for the to-be state. And then the scope of the solution that we're proposing, what is inside, what are the kind of technologies involved, functionally, what are we going to set out for, what should be, who are the roles, who are the kind of target audience for us that we need to engage. All of this would be mentioned in the solution scope. So potentially we are getting there. So in this journey, we are potentially kind of a halfway through the journey from the problem space to the solution space. So as we reach the strategy analysis and we complete this part of this set of activities, we are getting nearer and nearer in terms of how a solution would look like, how a solution should behave, what could be the ways in which we can try and achieve and implement the solution, right? So we've not implemented, we have not completed the construction of the building, we have not completed the roofs and the walls and everything else, but we've got a blueprint of the house, we've got pretty much a kind of layout of how many rooms it has, the design, overall design, what kind of materials you might want to use, the dimensions of the rooms, and the overall architecture of this whole house, including the extension, the external walls and everything else. All of that is going to be made ready by the end of this set of activities or knowledge area. And the actual building of that house would start from the next another knowledge.